for helping recruit a lot of your members here, Tip. I really appreciate the effort on your part. Doesn't go unnoticed for sure. So, getting right into it, the agenda for today, we're going to be talking about digital equity updates and resources. We're going to skip over the FAQ just so we can give more time to our special guest here today, which we'll get into later. Many of you probably already know. But then we'll also be looking back on a couple of events that we've had or a couple of milestones that we've passed, as well as addressing some of the upcoming dates and events to happen as well. So just going to go ahead and pull that over there and get started. So with the digital equity, we do have a DE webpage up and live, and that's where a lot of our information on our digital equity plan is going to be posted. Lots of information coming up fairly soon on that. To clue you guys in, the NOFO has been published relatively recently. We are fairly familiar with all of the information in that as we are still parsing through it. We're developing our capacity grant, which we'll be applying for in June. That'll be utilizing the plan that we had approved by the NTI, which is posted on our website. If there are any suggested digital equity resources, always send them our way. You can send them to our email is probably the best way of doing it, the office email, which is ndot.broadbandoffice@nebraska.gov. That's the best way of communicating with the office, broadly speaking, but specifically for if you have any additional resources, you have any additional suggestions for us, we definitely appreciate that. Much of our work between now and June is going to be parsing through that NOFO, ensuring that we understand everything that's in it, asking for clarity on certain items, as well as then submitting that capacity grant here in June. We will be having a town hall in the near future focused specifically on DE, just so that everyone's also as familiar as we are going to be on exactly what that program is going to look like. So please put that in your calendars. It'll be one of the upcoming town halls here shortly. And I'm hoping for pretty good attendance on that. It should be a fun topic to discuss. To get more into the DE webpage, this is kind of what we're going to be looking at on the website. This is where all of our resources, again, are going to be posted as we continue to develop those. Our plan is there on that hyperlink, as you can see. It was approved on March 29th, 2024. It's fantastic work by Diane Lowe on our side, carrying the torch from Ann Byers, who retired earlier this year. We submit our plans to NTIA, and then we get back, these are some minor errors that we really would like to see fixed, or things that are called deficiencies by NTIA's side. And to put it into perspective, we've gotten double-digit deficiencies on our other IPs, but when it comes to our digital equity plan, we only had one, which was just a slight question about some of the data. So it just kind of goes to show how good of a job that our team did on that one. So thank you very much to the team for that work. I think that was fantastic, and I think that's this plan best represents the totality of the state of Nebraska, which I think is kind of the goal here of what we're doing in the office broad red. So moving on to updates and resources, updates on the office, we are welcoming our new hire, Josh Russo. Fantastic to have him on board. He can be part of our grants team under the aforementioned Diane Lowe, so it's fantastic to have him on board. We're still hiring for various positions, which you can find on our websites. Again, how to get answers. I mentioned this earlier, the ndot.nebraska or .broadbandoffice@nebraska.gov. Sorry there. That is the best way to get answers quickly, concisely. We also like getting it in writing questions, because then we update our FAQ on our website. And I think that's been a great boon to our work with our various stakeholders is, you're getting the same answer that everyone else is getting. We're very transparent with that. We're very easy to work with, very open and accessible in that aspect. So please continue to send us questions. We've gotten great questions throughout the entirety of the challenge process. That's been very, very helpful. And thank you so much for everyone asking those questions. We're still learning in a lot of different facets. So don't feel as if, you can't ask any questions. You can't say, hey, have you considered doing it this way or that way, providing us some kind of advice or feedback on how we're operating. Always welcome on that. We also, like I said, have that FAQ that is going to be continuously updated depending on the topic. Right now, obviously, it is the challenge process. And as we progress through these town halls, there also will be an FAQ section here where we kind of address ongoing questions as we progress. So again, We will have a web resources page on our website that'll be coming soon. That'll house a lot of this kind of information. And as we continue to build kind of the office, those resources will be on there. So, and it could be things that don't necessarily deal with the topic of the week, but are pertinent to our conversations with stakeholders as we continue to serve the state of Nebraska. Looking back, couple big important things. I do want to start with the one on the far right here on the screen, at least the April 14th challenge portal close. Thank you guys so much for all of the challenges that we received, including all of the area challenges, which are still being triggered. We had over 30,000 locations challenged across the state, which was fantastic. We had tremendous all caps engagement from our advocates, which is great. Great to see that. It was a wide variety of advocates we had sign up. We had 86 signed up across the state, which may or may not be the most in the country, but I think for a state of our size, that's absolutely fantastic. We had advocates from every corner of the state, from every different type of organization, ISP, nonprofit, local government organization. I think one organization I do really want to highlight here is NACO. They did a great job with getting a lot of information to us and updating the map to the best of our ability. So that was fantastic from them for representing the whole state on that sense. We are also continuously updating our website files with the end of challenge process numbers. So that's rolling. We've done it to the best of our ability. We did get quite a few thousand challenges and that every day for the last week of the challenge process. So it's going to be a little bit slower on that end. And we, again, to the best of our ability, updated individuals in case they didn't meet the minimum level of evidence so they have a chance to resubmit. But now since that's over, we are moving into the rebuttal process, which I'll be getting to in just a little bit. We are, though, continuing to work through the challenge process. You might, again, get notification of area challenges being triggered. So just keep an eye out for that. Continue, again, to check our website. We will be posting the challenges there. If you do not get the automated email directly to you that you have been challenged, which so far so good, I think, on getting those out properly. But if that does not happen, we are posting them every Friday, what we've worked through every Friday on the website, and that is counting as our official notification for everybody. It's all public. Everyone's aware of it. And again, updating every Friday. So that starts that rolling 30-day clock, which I'll be getting into in the next slide, actually. But I do want to cover these other two items really quickly.
Hey, Patrick, can I insert one? Can I insert a little comment on there? I did actually just upload a new file to the website yesterday so that it is up to date. We'll still do one on Friday as usual, but I did upload one Friday, or yesterday, after the portal closed. So all the challenges that have been filed are up there.
Perfect.
And I did include location IDs. We were able to get that included this time. So locations IDs are also included.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for that update. It just kind of goes to show how good Rachel's team is, that they're, posting a day in advance of kind of where we would have expected before. They're really on top of this kind of stuff. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Back to this, Nebraska Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We did have a meeting. They were celebrating their 19th anniversary. We hosted them here at the NDOT building. Director Haggerty gave a good presentation on the future of broadband in Nebraska, talking over various aspects of BEAD, various aspects of digital equity. And then also we had other agencies there, such as the DED with Director Casey attending. That was fantastic to see, just kind of showing different ways that broadband can be utilized across the state and how we kind of impact a lot of different communities. We also did have a roundtable discussion with the FCC. FCC Commissioner Carr visited. We also Director Haggerty again was there with Senator Fisher. They updated the commissioner and the senator on our BEAD progress, which was significant, of course. They also, again, participated in that roundtable discussion. They brought up a lot of the challenges that we've been discussing facing the build out in Nebraska. So just know our federal delegation is well aware of that, as well as the FCC is aware of that. We do have continuing ongoing discussions with our NTIA representatives. Tom Rolfes, I believe, is here on this call today. He's our FPO, fantastic FPO. But we do have ongoing conversations with NTA about almost every facet of the program, I would probably say. So they're very well aware of kind of the challenges that we're facing, and they're giving us, guidance on how to kind of address that. Also in attendance at that meeting were several PSC commissioners and many ISP representatives, some who are on the call today. So thank you guys so much for being there if you were there. And moving on to kind of where we're going from here, upcoming events that I wanted to put out is we're starting the 30-day clock and rebuttals that I kind of teed up on the last slide. And once you get that notification, or if you did not get the notification, again, the Friday, a 30-day clock starts at that instance for you to submit your rebuttal. This is kind of the way that we outlined it in the IPv1. We thought this would be pretty good to get things moving, and so far it has. But if you have any questions about that, of course, reach out to the office. If you have any questions about evidence, again, send an email to nbot.broadbandoffice@nebraska.gov. We'll answer it there. That'd be fantastic. We can update our FAQ again as we continue to move through that process. After that, we start a 30-day clock for determinations to be made. And the very last day that we could possibly make determinations would be June 14th, assuming, again, we get a rebuttal at the end of the rebuttal period. So that would be on, I think, May 14th, if I'm not mistaken, on that date. But basically 30 days after the challenge portal closed on the 14th of this month. So with that, we will not be posting those determinations right away. So what we're going to be doing is taking all that information, we'll send it off to NTIA. They'll do an audit of our decision-making process at that point. We'll take all of that information, the new BDC data, all the information as a result of the PSC CPF process, bundle that up. That'll go out in the map. We'll post all of our NTA approved determinations after we get that back from them, update the map, and then that updated map will be what we use going forward for the B program. That will be what we have, kind of set in stone, if you will, for our DPA process, which again, we'll talk a lot more about that as we approach that. Right now, we're focused on this topic, but that's kind of looking forward how that's going to influence that. So if there was something that you wanted to get into, the challenge process that you couldn't on our end, I would encourage you to try to reach out to the FCC, get into their challenge process, because we'll still be incorporating some of that data and we'll be making determinations at that time. Hopefully a lot of what we have lines up with a lot of what they have there as well. With that, last thing on this list is there's the NGA meeting that's going down in Kansas here in June. We'll be sending a delegation over to there, led by Patrick, Director Haggerty. So I want to distinguish between me and Director Patrick. But so we'll be able to go there, talk to our other partners across the country. I was there last year at Vegas for the Vegas conference, and I thought that was very great to get to hear what other states are doing. Again, getting back to kind of what I mentioned before we started this conversation, I had the whole conversation with a couple other states about our engagement process, and they're kind of shocked to hear how much we engage with our stakeholders, which I think has made a very good impact on our program here in Nebraska. So with that, next month, we will be talking about broadband ready communities, talking about permitting, things of that nature. So if you have any information or resources you want to provide, or if you have any future town hall topics that you want to suggest to us that you think would be beneficial to the community, please, again, send it to ndot.broadbandoffice@nebraska.gov. Kind of want to hammer that home that is one of the best ways to get in contact with the office to get a good, quick answer. We really appreciate that. And then I'm done talking, which I'm sure people are very happy about. We're going to move into our guest speaker. We have David here with us. He's going to talk about their topic. Let me go ahead and leave my presentation and pull up the Broadband Nation presentation.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
So the floor is yours, David.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it. Yeah, as he just said, my name is Dave Stehlin. I'm the CEO of the Telecommunications Industry Association. And we've been in business, we're a nonprofit, been in business for 80 plus years. And we do a couple things primarily. One is we create standards for the industry, lots of technical standards for all types of technologies, whether it's wireline or wireless or satellite. For example, one of our biggest standards activity is all the cell tower structures that are across America. So the community of volunteers that are experts about technology will get together on a regular basis and talk about, the types of steel that are being used. How is a cell tower different as a free standalone tower versus something on top of a building? And this TR14 group recently met in Omaha. So we rotate around the country, and we had north of 100 people from various organizations come to Omaha to spend a whole week talking about updating this standard. One of our members, one of our participants is Valmont, who's got a huge facility in Nebraska. And we went out to their facility and had a day-long session on the importance of the wireless industry and how the structures that support the industry are critical. So recently we've done a bunch of things in Nebraska. The other thing we do besides create standards, and those standards also include things like cyber and supply chain security. The other thing we do is advocate for the industry with government. We have more than 400 member companies, from the Apples and the Qualcomms and the Ericssons and the Cornings down to very small companies as well. The big service providers across the country are also involved. But one thing that's become really apparent is we've been working with NTIA for a number of years on broadband. Before BEAD came out, trying to ensure that it's something that's very workable, that we can solve the problems of bringing broadband to all Americans. And one thing that became really apparent was there's a shortage of workforce across America, in every state and in every territory. And so in speaking with NTIA, in speaking with a variety of states, with all of our members, we decided to start a program called Broadband Nation. And in fact, it just went live. The portal just went live this week. So you can see it there, broadbandnation.org, and get a feel for what this is. Can you go to the next slide? So, there's about $100 billion of federal and state money committed to bringing broadband across the country. But we have a shortage of workforce to the tune of about 200,000 people. And those are a variety of different jobs. But the majority of those jobs are technician type roles. They don't require a 4-year degree. And it's because the industry is aging out. It's because a lot of folks don't know how broadband works. They don't know what's behind their cell phone and the internet. And so there isn't a lot of new folks coming into the industry. So we decided to create Broadband Nation with the intent of attracting, training, and delivering the next generation of talent across America, but doing so at a state and local level. And we'll, in the coming slides, give you a little bit more of a flavor for what that involves. But one of the big problems is there hasn't been a big attraction to the industry. As I said before, people don't understand what's involved in broadband and what type of careers and jobs are out there. So we decided to start this program. Next slide. So I mentioned a little bit about TIA. We partnered with Fierce, which is the largest media company in the telecom space. They create content. They manage well over 100 websites, 50, 60, 70 events a year. They're owned by a company called QuestX, but Fierce is our partner on this. TIA has the lead on the portal. Fierce is the one that's developing a lot of the content for us. But they're owned by QuestX, which also is involved in the hospitality and the education and the healthcare space and a variety of others. But they're very much multimedia content experts, and that's what we really felt we needed. Next slide. So this is a multidimensional approach to solving this problem. It's at a very high level, a career development website. There's a national brand campaign. We want to partner with community colleges and even secondary schools across the country to attract people to the industry. So I keep focusing on the attract piece. The intent is we've found ways to, by working with the AT&Ts and the large workforce companies and the Comcasts, understand what type of shortages they have. So they have shortages in fiber splicers, in plant construction, in tower climbers, in customer service people, in network engineering. And we've talked to them, and a lot of the states that have workforce development plans have outlined those specific jobs as the key shortages. And then what we did is we found out by talking with these HR companies and the HR departments at the AT&Ts of the world, what are the typical personas for those jobs? So a construction person likes to work in a team and work outdoors. A tower climber's adventurous. A customer service person likes to advocate for others. A fiber splicer likes to work somewhat independently and use their hands. And then what we're doing through the site is we're going to those sites where they typically would be, outdoorsman sites, veteran sites, and advertising using social media, Broadband Nation. The intent being to draw them to broadbandnation.org. And then once they come to our site, they'll see day in the life of a fiber splicer in Omaha. We'll create little short videos. They'll be able to see career paths. Well, this is what the job looks like at the beginning, but where can I be in 5 years? For both large company, small company, or a contractor. They will have lots of details about these individual jobs, so they'll get a better feel for it. We want that personal approach, but we also want it to be a national approach, because it really is a mission for America. Big part of the BEAD money, as you know, is to bring broadband to rural America. We want people to stay close to home. We don't want them to have to leave their town, leave their state, go across the country to find a job or to get trained. So national brand, day in the life, make it local, show them what careers look like. If they don't know what type of job they might want, they can take a quick quiz to see what, based on their personalities and what they like to do, what a good fit might be. And then what we'll do is we'll show them where they can go locally to get trained. So we want to work with community colleges to start up training programs. There are probably 80 or 100 community colleges around the country that today have some type of broadband training, but it needs to be 300 or 400. So we want to first expose those community colleges that already have training. And then number two is enlarge the number that do offer training. So we'll help them set up programs. And we want those community colleges to be in every state, of course. So that's something else we want to do. TIA's approach is this is a big tent approach. We're not trying to recreate the wheel. We're working with those that already have curriculum and then helping make a marriage between those schools and those that already offer a program. Recently, we made an introduction to a community college in New Mexico, right outside Navajo Nation, because they wanted to set up training for the Navajos there. And so we introduced them to 3 or 4 programs, and they're going through the process of making a decision. So our intent is not to recreate the wheel, but have a big tent approach. And then what we're doing is working with the ISPs and the workforce companies to list their jobs on the site. So attract, train, and deliver all on the same site. And one of our focuses is to go down to the secondary school level as well. So we're going to have some online training. What is fiber optics? Where somebody can, at the secondary school level, can take a very self-paced course to learn about the basics of fiber optics. One of the challenges that the service providers and the workforce companies will tell you is stickiness. They can attract some people, not enough. They can attract some people, but once they get in the program, they don't necessarily finish, or they might be in their apprentice program or be on board for 3 months and then quit. And of course, that's not a recipe for success. So the sooner we can tell people at a younger level what these jobs are about, what's involved, and that we can show them the career, we can make these jobs more sticky. And that's really critical if we want to keep service providers and workforce companies engaged in something like this. In many cases, they're putting up $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 for an individual to get them trained out of their own pocket. And if they leave after a short period of time, that's really painful financially. So we want to minimize that. Next slide. We're also going to have an annual expo. The first one's outside Washington, D.C. in October. It's an industry conference for all types of technologies, but we're also going to have a workforce pavilion. It's a train the trainer pavilion. We'll have federal government speakers to come in to talk about these jobs. We'll have states come in to talk about it. We'll have community college success stories. We'll give the chance for community colleges to learn about the curriculum and what's involved in setting up these various programs. Maybe even do some, sample fiber splicing so they can get a feel for what's involved there. We'll also talk about the over-the-horizon needs, not just those 5 jobs that we're starting with, but then cybersecurity expertise and setting up curriculum for that, or data center expertise and setting up curriculum for that. So that'll be that workforce training pavilion will be part of our first expo this fall in DC. Next slide. So the homepage is really to elevate the importance, a national importance of this job, and then help them drill down to understand how to attract people to these training programs. When you go to the site, you'll see, and it's, as I said, it's live this week, right now. You can see that up across the top, it's jobs, it's training, it's just a learning center. There are very few things to click on at the beginning, and then you can sort by state. So one of the things we're working to do is work with each state and build state-specific pages. Louisiana has signed up, and they're already on the site where we can show some of the training through the Louisiana Community College and Technical School platform. We're working with the existing platforms in various states. If they have, their own state portals for job training, or their community colleges or other nonprofit relationships. Louisiana has one with an organization called Heartland Forward. We have those linkages on the site as well. We'll also show the jobs available. So we'll work with the ISPs and the workforce companies to list the jobs. So an individual that shows interest can then look at, okay, where do I go to get trained locally? And then where do I go locally to get a job? So it's really unique is that it's all broadband focused. It's attract, train, and deliver. A lot of very creative content. We'll keep adding more and more content as time goes on. We'll have state-specific videos. You can see the Louisiana video that we did. We'll have quotes and information from leaders from the state. The governor of Louisiana gave us a quote. So that's the way we're going to build this program out. And as I mentioned, we're talking with all the states about how we can help you attract more people, keep more people in Nebraska, help build out your training program, and again, work with your ISPs and workforce companies to advertise the jobs on the site. So at a high level, that's what Broadband Nation is. Maybe I can take a breath and see if anyone has any thoughts or questions.
I believe there's some questions in the chat from Josh with Sked. How are you planning to attract young people, high school aged, into the industry?
Yep, it's a few ways. One is we want to work with community colleges and secondary school folks to help them expose Broadband Nation. And a lot of the content that has been written already is written for millennials, for young people. So when you go to the site, you'll see a bunch of interviews that we've done. We have an editor who goes out and interviews people and kind of writes it in the approach that younger people are going to want to see. So one of the things that we want to do is have lots and lots of short videos, 1 minute, 2 minute long videos to attract people in the way that they're used to consuming these days. We'll also be having user-generated videos. So somebody does their first fiber splice in the field, we'll ask them to do a little video and we'll post that on the site. I mentioned about some of the early training that we do. And then there's lots of different types of career options. So, a lot of these jobs are working for larger companies. A lot of the jobs are working for smaller contractors. And there's also the opportunity to create your own business and you're an independent contractor. So we'll be showing those types of career paths, both what the careers look like and what the options look like, but also financially what that looks like for an individual. There is a list of schools that offer training that's out there. We're loading it by state, so it's not fully fleshed out yet. But some of the states, you can see the schools that are already there, and we're happy to work with your broadband office and your community colleges as well. I'm not familiar with Nebraska's community college system, but some states are very centralized and some are not. So we're happy to work either way.
I don't know if you can see the chat, Dave, because
Yep.
a lot of questions have come in.
Yeah.
I see you're addressing some of those. So
Yep. Let me go through. So, that's
there's
how we
one
want to
about-
attract younger people for the school, for high school age. Part of that is, honestly, community colleges are not the best at marketing, and there's a challenge with some community colleges where they like to push the associate's degree program rather than a one-off certification program. A lot of this to get started is one-off certification, which could lead to an associate's in telecommunications engineering or even on the way to a 4-year degree. So there are a lot of different paths here. But we want to work with you and maybe use you to help us reach your secondary schools. And it's an opt-in type of thing for sure. But we want to work with you to work with your secondary schools. If we have an arrangement with a specific state, we can then know what type of social media is typically used in that state. Some are very heavy for Instagram, some are YouTube, some are TikTok. And then we spend our money advertising on those social media sites just in your state. So we'll do millions of outreaches to pull people on outdoorsman sites and veteran sites and things of that sort, where they would typically go, and sites that younger people would typically go to advertise Broadband Nation to get them on board. Okay. I don't think we've had any Nebraska community colleges approach us yet. We very much would like those introductions so we can get it going. And the same thing with apprenticeships. Some states have apprentice programs through their workforce development. Some ISPs have very specific apprentice programs. And one of the things we want to do is work with charities that are supportive of the trades. Because as I mentioned, a lot of these jobs are the trades. And get those and start up more apprentice programs. What else we got here? Career ladder. We show some of that on the site, and we're going to continue to flesh that out. Love to learn about the career academy that you have. And you can reach out to me or Melissa, or just go to broadbandnation.org, get more information, and we'll follow up that way. They're very compatible with internships and with apprenticeships. Okay, what else? Good. Love to talk to the Southeast Community College about the program. I think virtual reality can certainly become an option here. Actually, one of our companies that's helping us with the secondary school online program has some thoughts about using VR to show people what fiber splicing is all about, because that's something that's really interesting. I think I've flown through most of the questions, which are fantastic.
I says, will TIAB focus on broadband infrastructure or digital skilling and inclusion, or both?
Primarily the building and maintaining of the networks, and those individuals that will be building and maintaining networks. From a digital skilling perspective, if you're talking about individuals that are using the network, that's definitely a possibility, but probably not in this first phase. We want this to be kind of the go-to site across the country, so we can definitely add things like that. One of the things that we've been given some input on that is really interesting is helping people with their skills in the workforce. How do I take constructive criticism as a young employee? Little things like soft skill, things like that, we want to add to the site as well. So we want people to continually come back to the site.
I think the last one is just more of a comment that they're front-loading workforce development programs in K through 12, aligning to tech careers, certification, micro-credentialing, and internships. And it has some partners that are listed, mostly community colleges, UNO, UNL, and the Nebraska Department of Education.
Yep, definitely want to work with all of them.
Does anybody else have any questions? If you want to even unmute and ask.
I apologize. I joined late. Rebecca Johnson with the Lead for America, American Connection Corps. Is your site live or will it be online soon?
It went live on Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's live.
Thank
yeah, so you can go and we'll keep fleshing it out, but you can see, for example, the Louisiana state, which is the first one we signed up. You can get an example of what their state site might look like. We would love to do the same thing with Nebraska.
Awesome. And how would we best connect you with education partners in Nebraska?
Yeah, there's a learn more on the site, and that's where you can go to ask a question, and then our community college person will reach back out to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so, in summary, it really is a mission for America. I know we have a workforce shortage in so many industries, but we all rely on broadband in so many ways that we thought that helping solve this national problem at a local and state level was a good way to do it. So I appreciate everyone listening.
Perfect. Well, with that, I'm good to return to our presentation, but of course, if you have any continuing questions for David, then feel free to go ahead and do that. But in the Q&A section, are there any questions for NBO? Rachel, anything you're seeing in the chat? I didn't see anyone raise their hand just now.
I would just remind people, if they do have questions, to reach out to our n.broadband office at nebraska.gov email. It helps us be a little more responsive and get you a better answer.
100%. 100%. So, all right. Well, it sounds like all the questions were for you, Dave. So, not necessarily the worst thing in the world for me, I guess. But all right. I won't keep you guys any longer than that, so you get 19 minutes back for today. But thank you guys so much for attending today. Again, thank you for everyone for help with recruiting people for today's meeting. Really appreciate that, and we will see you at our next town hall. Have a good and wonderful rest of your guys' day and week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.